I'm about to pull it out now. The check engine light just came on. Man, oh man, always something. Hey everyone, welcome back to Shop Life. We're back at it again with another video in this unrestricted Shop Life series. So we're still working on this S2000. As you saw in the previous video, we removed this old engine out of here. This is a AP1 S2000, so this engine is the F20. So we removed this engine because of a spun bearing that caused rod knock, as well as stretched timing chains. So we decided not to rebuild it, and we just sourced another F20. Originally, the owner, we'd given him options of doing a different kind of swap, like a K swap or a LS swap, 2J swap, so many options, but he wanted to stick with the OEM and keep it stock, especially with the way these values of these S2Ks are going up. I think it's a good decision. You couldn't have went wrong either way, even if he had chosen to do a swap, but we've got the new engine sourced. We actually had to go quite a bit of a time trying to source this new engine, and we actually even had to go all the way to Illinois to pick it up. So that just shows you how much rarer these engines are getting, and they're not that cheap. But we've got a good engine, hopefully. We're gonna go ahead and pull that new one apart, replace those timing chains since we already have them, replace a bunch of gaskets, and just go over the whole thing, make sure it's good to go for years to come. Don't crack on me. All right, so now what I'm doing is I've got the engine set at TDC, and that doesn't really matter. I can change it later on, but I'm pulling off this valve cover. We're just gonna check the timing stuff. We're gonna replace it anyways, but I just wanna make sure the engine was already in time. And then we'll pull off the camshafts, and then we should be able to go ahead and change out that timing chain. With the valve cover off, everything looks pretty good for the most part. I don't see any pitting on any of the camshafts, which is really good. The actual surfaces all look really clean compared to the old engine. There's not really any metal buildup anywhere. Everything looks good for the most part. Now let's check the timing. So in order to check the timing, right now I do have the crank at top dead center, but the cam gears aren't lined up yet. So to actually see if the engine is in time, what you'll see is there's a mark on the camshaft, one right here on the gear, and one on this side as well. So you want both of them pointing at each other perpendicular with the surface of the head. So you'll see that happen when I go full around again. It should be right on top dead center with the camshafts in time as well. And there we have it. So both of those marks are good, and same with this middle gear as well. that lines up perpendicular, or parallel I should say, with the head. All right, so the timing is actually spot on here. The chain doesn't look stretched. There is some little marring on the timing cover from the chain slapping around. That could have been previously before they replaced the tensioner, because as you guys know, on these S2Ks, the timing chain tensioners from the factory are a very weak point. So that was probably replaced sometime in its life. But since we already have all of these gears, we already have the chains, we're just gonna go ahead and replace it, and then we'll do the valve adjustment at the very end, since we're gonna be removing these camshafts. So we just wanna play it safe, try to make sure that he doesn't really have to worry about anything major. It's a lot easier for me to do this while the engine's out as opposed to when it's in the car. So we're just gonna knock it out. Let's get right to it. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm actually loosening all of the rocker arm adjusting screws or nuts. And the main reason I'm doing that is that way we can relieve some pressure off these camshafts. And once I have all of these loosened, then we can take off all of the retainers and go ahead and pull off the actual camshafts. And what that will allow us to do, that will pretty much free up this idler gear, and then we can remove the rest of the timing cover and pull off the actual idler gear, pull off the timing chain, pull off the crankshaft gear. We're gonna change all of these gears out since we already have them. All right, so I've already got all of these loosened in the proper order, so they're all pretty much hand tight, so I'm just gonna remove the rest of them with the drill. Grab that, grab that. So one of the best things when we pull this oil pan off, there's no bearing material anywhere. There's a little bit of dirt specks right here, some dirt specks on this side as well, but that's all from when I pulled this oil pan down. Parts of this gasket, pretty much the gasket maker, is what fell in, but everything else looks amazing. So happy. We'll clean all this up later. Let's just get back to changing out those chains. And then before we put all this new gasket material on here, we'll clean all this oil pan out, make sure it's nice and clean. All right, so we've got the engine pretty much ready to go inside. I've got to do a few more things like mount the flywheel, the whole clutch assembly. We bought a whole new flywheel. We got the ACT Pro Light flywheel. So a quick thing, this is an AP1 engine. So the AP1 engines they actually came with lighter flywheels than the AP2 engines. So what a lot of people do is whenever they're doing a flywheel change on the AP2, they will just buy a used AP1 flywheel and use that, because AP1 flywheel is right around 11 pounds, or no, AP1 flywheel is right around 14 pounds. AP2 flywheel, I believe, is around 18 to 20 pounds, something like that. So the AP1 flywheel is actually a good one to have. But our flywheel was really shot. So we decided to not get it resurfaced. And even trying to get it resurfaced, it was a pain in the butt to find a machine shop around here that could remove those dowels and do the two-step resurfacing that's required for these flywheels. So we ended up buying an aftermarket ACT Pro Light flywheel. So that flywheel is right around, I believe, 10 pounds. So it's a little bit lighter than the AP1, and it is a little bit cheaper than buying a brand new AP1 flywheel. So both ways it works out. The amount of lightness, like 1 or 2 pounds compared to the AP1, shouldn't make a difference at all in terms of drivability. It might make the revs a little bit faster, especially when you're downshifting. You might have to rev it a little bit higher, but that's not that big of a deal. Should be still really good. For the clutch kit, we actually went with a Luke clutch, so LUK. They're actually OEM manufacturers for a lot of brands, not for Honda, but they are quality, so we should be good with that as well. So I'm not really going to talk much when I'm putting the whole flywheel and clutch kit together. We're just going to be, putting it on. I already Loctited all the bolts, so we should be ready to just, put everything in, torque it down, hook the transmission back up, and then let's just get it right back in the car. So with this flywheel, I actually also got a OEM, so from Honda, pilot bearing. And on the ACT Pro Light flywheel, unlike the factory one, so the factory one has a step right here to let you know when to stop pushing the pilot bearing in. The ACT one does not have that step, but the whole rule of thumb is you just want to have it flush with this back mating surface. So we are good to go. All right, so we've got everything put back in. I've got the subframe mounted up. All the bolts are in. I still have to torque everything down. I also went ahead and put the drive shaft up here. So what's left is now the exhaust. I've got to route all these wires up to the top. So I'm just gonna bring the car down, route all this stuff up, and then just get everything else ready before we get back down here, put the exhaust on, and then, you know, turn it on and see how it works. But besides that, let's just get right to it. I'm not gonna really show putting all this harness stuff back on. It's just a tedious process, so I'm just gonna do it. We're on the final stages of getting this S2K put back together. Feels like I've been working on this thing for weeks, but I mean, honestly, we've been working on it for about a week, you know, waiting on parts, all that stuff. What's surprising is a lot of this S2000 stuff is actually not kept in stock. Even like things like pulleys, hoses, any kind of gaskets, seals, like crush washers and stuff. A lot of that stuff is all special order. You can't even get aftermarket stuff for it, but we've got everything ordered. Pretty much I've plumbed everything as far as all the cooling system goes. Got new pulley on here, new belt. All the pulleys are nice and tight. I went over the whole subframe, make sure everything was torqued to spec. All the bell housing bolts, torqued those to spec. Reinstalled the steering rack. We ended up changing the tie rod ends, so I went ahead and did that. Put the sway bar back on, new sway bar links. So pretty much at this stage, what we have left is I need to tighten the drive shaft bolts, and it's kind of a little tricky on here because even with the e-brake on, like the e-brake's not holding strong enough for me to torque them down by myself. So I'm gonna have my fiance sit inside, press the brakes, and then I'll torque all of the drive shaft bolts down. Then the exhaust. So one thing about the exhaust, when we were taking it off, if you go back to that video, you'll see where some of the exhaust gaskets were just completely trashed. And those gaskets aren't available either. So we're gonna have to make a gasket for that because it is an aftermarket exhaust. So we're gonna put that back up, get that figured out, and then finally turn it on. I don't think we're gonna be able to test drive it tonight. It's already really late. It's like around 1 o'clock. So we're just gonna, you know, get everything turned on, just make sure it runs properly. Then tomorrow morning, you know, the car will sit the whole night, see if there's any leaks and all that. You know, the usual before we take it for a real test drive. But right now I'm just gonna go ahead and fill up this cooling system and see, hopefully there's no leaks. We've got these new silicone hoses as well that were included with the new engine. So we just went ahead and utilized them. Let's see how skillful I am. Ready? Whew. All right, so the coolant is all in. Doesn't seem like there's any leaks yet. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put the oil. So since we did do a lot of stuff on here and this engine has been sitting for a while, I am gonna use Rotella T6. So this engine actually calls for 5W30, but this is a 5W40 oil. The Rotella T6 is kind of high in zinc, and it's actually just, you know, good for cleaning out any deposits and whatnot. It is meant to be a diesel oil, but you can run it in most gasoline engines as well. So we're just gonna run this, and he's gonna be doing an oil change within the next, I would say 1,500 miles anyways, just to make sure everything's going good. So we're just gonna go ahead and use it. All right, so the last piece of the puzzle, we're gonna go ahead and put on this cold air intake that came with this engine.
Guess you could say he's exhausted.
Ouch. That didn't even hurt me. I don't know why I said ouch. It hurt the exhaust.
It's not clicking over here.
Don't worry about that. Can I get this on? Why is it so far off?
That's what I said.
Can you go to the back and guide it out from right there?
Run this up there. Run. Now.
All right, so for this back section of the exhaust, like I said, the gasket was completely trashed. So I just made a gasket with the gasket maker. I'm not worried about it. There was already exhaust leak there. There's also an exhaust leak over here. Or where'd it go? Yeah, like right here, there's another exhaust leak. But he's gonna be getting a different type of exhaust soon. So not much we could do about it. All right, just double checked all the hose clamps. We let it sit overnight. There are no leaks in the cooling system. The level, everything is good. Oil, there's no oil leaks. Oil level is still fine, but I'm having such a trouble time talking. What I'm trying to say is, so there's no fuel throughout the whole fuel rail and fuel system yet, which is good. What we're gonna do is I'm just gonna crank up the car. That way oil goes through all the passages. I mean, we did fill up oil, and even before I put the valve cover on, I spilled a good amount of oil all over the camshafts and the timing chain. So we should be good, but we do want to build up some oil pressure before it fires all the way up. So chances are, until that fuel starts going in, it's going to do that. The only thing that I am concerned about is a possible fuel leak, because some of those washers and whatnot, we did have to transfer over because they're not available. But I think we should be fine. We're about to find out. Before I could do anything though, we gotta hook up the battery. And this battery was completely dead when I got here. So I charged it up, but I'm not sure how it's gonna hold. And if it doesn't, then we'll have to hook up a jump starter. So many possibilities for things to go wrong. And then also, I'm assuming there used to be a subwoofer installed in here before this owner got it. And whoever installed it, I don't know what they were doing. I mean, there's wires all over the place. They're not attached anymore. Like, they're just hanging out. Hopefully they're not live. I'm assuming they're not. Then also all of these terminals are all trashed. They added all these extra wires and screwed up all of the bolts and nuts that hold everything. Like, look at this. Like, there's no way you're gonna be able to tighten that and make sure it's sealed properly. So hopefully this is not a live wire anymore. Same with this one, look. It's just this is like all Harbor Freight connectors, which I have nothing against Harbor Freight wire connectors, but I think they shouldn't be used where they shouldn't be used in the elements. That's what I would say. Especially this close to the battery and this close to the exhaust. There's so much stuff that could go wrong.
Damn, boy. Your game.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So I just noticed this shirt actually belongs to my fiance, but I guess it shows off the gains, right?
It actually is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It is yours, or you're saying it does show off?
It is mine, and yeah, I could tell through the camera.
That is yours or the gains? You gotta specify.
Oh my god, you just want a compliment.
Yes, of course. All this hard work, somebody gotta notice. But I'm not at that level yet. Hopefully, one day. Damn, it's still not tight. Battery's hooked up, still don't like it. I mean, honestly, there's so many little things about this, you know, the whole car that I would change, right? If it were mine, I would get rid of all of this harness. Like, only thing is, you can't justify, you know, to the owner of the car, I can't justify, you know, making him spend all this extra money, because obviously, I mean, I would love to do it for free. If I had all the time in the world and all the money in the world, I would love to just, you know, get all of this stuff squared away, but it's just not feasible as far as, you know, for the customer or for me to waste my time, you know, getting all this stuff right. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, like some cars like this, these are like enthusiast cars. S2Ks, they're hard to come by. Most people that own an S2K, they're all enthusiasts at this point. So it's just like, you know, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just about to turn this car on. All right. Oh, why am I trying to turn it? Rookie. right, so far, no leaks that I can see. It sounds pretty good. It has a little misfire every now and then, but that's just because the fuel system is dry. So I think the fuel's just going through. If the timing was off or anything like that, it wouldn't be running. So I think that should all be good. I don't hear any weird noises from the engine either. No rattles, no ticking, everything seems good. I'm gonna try to put the clutch in and stuff and see how it works. It's got a little misfire to it still. Make sure your foot is not on the wheel.
No.
Okay. The wheel's turning? The back, not the front. Now? No. Why all the way up here? He's a new clutch master cylinder.
Why do you say that?
Because the clutch feels like it's releasing all the way at the edge, like right before it comes up, and there's a good like 2 or 3 inches of play that I tried to adjust with the rod, but it didn't work. So it is the actual clutch master itself. There's just too much play in it. I don't know why it's still misfiring a little bit. I think this car has been down for like a year. Oh shit. Yeah, I don't think he's driven it in like a year. He hasn't driven it in a year, which is why like the brakes are a little rusty and whatnot. I'm excited for him to get back in the car and drive it, you know? Because like first things first, the clutch, he had the clutch replaced by another shop, and I don't think they actually replaced it. So that probably, you know, made it so that it was still not driving that good to begin with, even after he got the car back from the shop. But now we've got a new flywheel, a new clutch. The engine should be good, no issues. It's gonna feel completely different. I need to put a little bit more oil in it, tighten the wheels, then we'll take it for a test drive. All right, I'm about to pull it out now. The check engine light just came on. I need to scan it, but I'm still gonna pull it out. It's firing like a lot. I think it might just be gas, honestly, or like ignition coil, could be a plug. I mean, I got it up to speed. I mean, everything else, the clutch, everything else feels great.
The code doesn't say that?
The code just says it's a random misfire, P1399. But everything else, I mean, it feels good, honestly. Besides the misfire, obviously. Obviously. But I mean, it could honestly just be the gas. The injectors, we actually use the ones that belong to the engine. That's possible. I did adjust the valves, but I mean, I put them all to pretty much right between the minimum and maximum clearance for the exhaust and intake. So for the exhaust side, I think it's like 0.01, and between 0.01 and 0.011. On the intake side is between 0.08 and 0.01, I believe. So they're all like right in the middle. Man, oh man, always something. But like, I guarantee, I'm almost positive, it's just the gas. It has to be the gas. Imagine if I take all this apart, check everything else, and it just ends up being the gas. And it's still got like a half a tank in it. Should I go and just refill it up all the way with premium? I think I'm gonna do that first. Just make sure there's no other leaks. The exhaust, like I said, the exhaust is leaking at the middle section, so there's a bunch of water just pooling out from right there before it even gets to the section where we had to make the gasket. Oh, so many little minor issues. And it's hard because the exhaust is kind of loud and the leak makes it worse. So I can't really hear if there's anything else going on with the engine, like, you know, if there's any ticking noises. I mean, obviously if there was something major, you could hear it, but I can't hear anything minor. All right, let me check the leaks and then I'll go fill up some more gas. No more misfires, so it ended up being the coils. But what I'm still gonna do, I'm gonna give the car back to him today. I'm gonna let him drive it around for a couple of days, maybe even a week, and I'm gonna tell him to bring it back so we can take off the valve cover, double check all the clearances, make sure everything is, you know, good, because I don't want to have any other issues pop up in the future that we could have, you know, prevented by just double checking everything. But I mean, the car feels good. I'm gonna go take it for a drive one more time. This time I'll get on it a little bit more, just make sure the misfire doesn't come back. But that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll still see this S2K back for maybe some mods, maybe a turbo, maybe something else, you never know. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys in our next video.